In this video, I'll be sharing with you a requested tutorial from my group on how to cut a 3-part corset with a side peplum. So if this is something you like, please don't forget to hit on the subscribe button. Give this video a thumbs up. So let's dive right into today's video. So to start, here is my pattern paper and I've gone ahead to mark my basic measurement, which includes my shoulder to bust, under bust, waist, and for the length of this blouse, you can go ahead to use any measurement of your choice, or you can go ahead to add 5 inches to it. So I just went ahead to add 5 inches to mine, but if you're not okay with this, go ahead and measure whatever length that suits you for this corset blouse. I'll go ahead and mark my shoulder divided by 2, and from that point I'll come down by 1 inch. Now I'll place my ruler and I'm going to connect. The next step I'm going to take is to find my chest line, which is my bust circumference divided by 6 plus 1.5 inches. I made a mark at that point and drew out a straight line. What you have on the shoulder, go ahead to mark it back. After that, place your ruler and connect. So after you're done connecting that, I'm going to divide this into 2, come in by ½ inch, and here I'm going to mark my bust circumference divided by 4. Now after this, I'll go ahead and connect this and also connect to the upper part of my pattern. So after connecting to the upper part of my pattern, I'll go ahead to use my marker to outline. So next, I'll be marking my nipple to nipple divided by 2. My nipple to nipple is 7 inches divided by 2. I have 3.5 inches. So I'll go ahead and mark this all the way to the lower part of my pattern, and I'll place my ruler and I'll go ahead to draw to connect a straight line. After I'm done connecting this, the next step is to mark my dart. So for my dart, I'll be marking 1 inch on both sides. Now, if you're a plus size, you're going to use 1.5 inches at both sides. Or if you're a bit busty, you should also use 1.5 inches at both sides. So this applies to people that have smaller body but have bigger busts. Now from the bust, I'll come down by ½ inch and then connect it down to the under bust. Go ahead to repeat this at the other side of my pattern and connect. After I'm done connecting this way, I'll use my marker to outline. Now you're going to determine where you want your corset cup to start. Mine will be starting 1.5 inches above my chest line. So if you don't want to reveal much cleavage, you can use 2 inches. I'll go ahead and mark back my nipple to nipple divided by 2, and I'm going to connect. After I'm done connecting this, I'll go ahead and mark 1 inch at both sides of my pattern. Go ahead to connect to the lower part of my pattern, and after I'm done connecting this way, I used my marker to outline. Now I'll be inserting my body measurement. I'll go ahead and mark my bust circumference divided by 4. My bust is 33 divided by 4. I have 8.3. Measure the dart intake I have there and replace it. So for the under bust, I'll measure my under bust circumference divided by 4. My under bust is 28 divided by 4. I have 7. Now I'll measure the dart intake and then replace my sewing allowance. My under bust and waistline is the same measurement, so I'll just go ahead to use it there. Now I'll mark my hip circumference divided by 4, measure the dart intake, replace, and go ahead to add my sewing allowance. After I'm done doing that, I'll go ahead to connect my pattern, starting from the bust to the under bust and from the waist down to the hip point. So after I'm done connecting it this way, on the chest line, I will come in with ½ inch, and after I'm done connecting with ½ inch, I'll go ahead to draw out my cup, then place my curve drew and connect to this point. So the cup is not so deep, so I'll just go ahead and connect from this point all the way to the ½ inch I marked, serving as my corset bridge. So here you want to mark your nipple to nipple divided by 2 to mark your side cup and add ½ inch to it. Another method is to divide what you have between the armhole and your bust circumference. Another method again is to come in from your bust circumference by 1 inch. So if you use that, you notice that all of them falls almost at the same point. So I'll just go ahead to connect. So after I'm done connecting, so next is to create the pattern for the neckline. So for the neckline of this dress, you notice that there's a design. So that design is actually made from the Ankara all you have to do is cut out your pattern for the yoke part of this corset. Now use it to create the design on the neckline of this dress. So it's actually made with your Ankara. You can add an interface into it. So next I'll blend off my dart, and from here I'll come up by ½ inch or 0.3 inches because of the cup here is a bit slanty, and I'll take it up to the other side. From the side I'll come up by 1.5 inches and I'll draw or connect it. So this will help create the sleeve. You're going to use that pointy edge of the cup to connect to the sleeve. So I'll go ahead and use my marker to outline my pattern. So you have a 3-part corset. From this side I'll connect, then blend it off, and I'll start extending to the other side of my cup. So after I'm done connecting, this is what I have. So after I'm done marking this, right, I'll go ahead and I will label my cup. So to draw out the peplum part of my dress, I'll go up by ½ inch, and from that ½ inch I'll be connecting. So you can cut this pattern also as a dartless corset if you like, to avoid blending in at this part. So what I'll do is to blend in this part, coming by 1.5 inches at this point, and after that I'll go ahead to connect from this point all the way to the lower part of my pattern this way. So if you think what you have here is too small, you can increase the length of your blouse. After this, I'll go ahead and use my scissors to cut out my pattern. So at this point, if you have any question regarding this pattern illustration, please don't forget to leave your question at the comment section. And if you haven't yet subscribed, please hit on the subscribe button. So I'll be merging this part as one cup and drawing the rest. So you want to blend your pattern too. So at this point, at the upper part of my yoke, I'll just mark out 3 inches at this part, and I'll go ahead to connect it. So if you don't want to make that design at the neckline, you can go ahead to just cut it as a stylish queen and neckline corset. So this is what I have here, and I'll go ahead to blend this in as one piece. So after this, we'll go ahead to draft the back pattern. So for the back pattern of this dress, I've gone ahead to mark out all my basic measurements. The zipper, I used a zipper for this pattern, and for your zipper you can add 1.5 inches to 2 inches. So I marked out all my basic measurement just like we did for the front. Next, you'll be marking your nipple to nipple divided by 2. After you're done marking that, you're going to go ahead to draw out a straight line connecting to the end. So what you're going to do next is to go ahead to mark your dart intake of ½ inch at both sides. Here you're going to come down by 1 inch, and after that you're going to go ahead to connect this all the way down and also connect at the upper part. Now you're going to extend your dart, but after I extended my dart, when I was cutting this out, because of the roundish shape at that part, I had to use a straight dart. Now you have to insert your body measurement. Go ahead to mark your bust circumference divided by 4 and add your sewing allowance. Now at the under bust, you're going to mark your under bust circumference divided by 4 and add your sewing allowance. Also measure this dart, replace it, and add your sewing allowance. So I'm using the same bust measurement and under bust we use for the front. So for the waistline, my waistline is 28, remember, divided by 4, I have 7. Measured the dart intake, I replaced and added my sewing allowance. So here I had to reconnect my dart to a straight dart because of the peplum that we are going to be cutting out at this side, like the shape that we are going to draw out at this side. So I'll mark my hip circumference divided by 4, measure this dart intake, I'll go ahead and replace it, and after that I'll add my sewing allowance. So the next step is to go ahead to connect this, and I'll connect to the side of my pattern. So after this, I'm going to go ahead to come down by ½ inch at my chest line, and I'll go ahead to connect it to the chest line of my pattern at the armhole. So I'll go ahead to use my marker to outline this. I'll come in with 3 inches and I'll extend this to the back. So you can go ahead to create the design that we have there, or you can use your regular yoke. So at the lower part, I marked 0.3 to get rid of any bulginess at that part of the dress. I'll go ahead and label out my pattern, and after doing that, I'll go ahead to cut out this pattern. So if you have any question regarding this tutorial, you can go ahead to also leave it at the comment section. So at this part, I'll come in with 1/2 inch and I'll go ahead to place and draw out a straight line. So after I'm done drawing out a straight line at this part, I'll go ahead to cut it out. This is to get rid of the bulginess on the dress. So I'll also go ahead to cut out the dart lines on this pattern. Now we'll be merging this up also to draw out the shape. So to avoid having a different shape altogether, you can go ahead to use the pattern that you used before. So go ahead also to mark out the sewing allowance. So the sewing allowance you used in front should be the same you use at the back, and your measurements should be accurate also for this pattern. So I folded out my sewing allowance for the front, so I'll go ahead and place my pattern starting from the zipper line of this pattern. So if you notice, my pattern is aligning very well, and what I'm going to do now is to go ahead to draw out this shape. So I'll go ahead to connect from this side, from the side of my pattern to the end of this part. And also make sure that your dart lines are matching before going ahead to draw this out. So after drawing this out, you go ahead to connect it. So I'll just go ahead and I'll cut this out. Next, we are going to draw out the peplum part of this dress. So what you're going to do is we're going to fold this into 360-degree flare. So I'm going to fold mine by 4. This is the first folding, which is into 2, and this is the second folding, which is into 4. So after I'm done folding this right now, what I'm going to do is to go ahead to take my measurement around this pattern. So now let's cut but after this, what you're going to do is you're going to fold up your sewing allowance and you're going to place it and pin it together. Another way is after you're done sewing your corset, you can now go ahead to cut out this shape. But this method is preferable because it will reduce the stress of joining the whole corset and starting all afresh. So what I'll do is pin out your exact sewing allowance, and you're going to go ahead to measure what you have right round this corset. So after I'm done measuring it, what I have is 20 inches. So I'll be using this to cut out the peplum or the flare part of this dress. So another thing to note is that this peplum also has like a pleating on it, so which I forgot to even include in my measurements. So when you're cutting yours, instead of using this 20 inches, you can use like 25 inches to create little pleats on it by the side. So after folding this now, which I've done already, that's 20 inches. I'll divide it by 4 because this is what I folded mine with. 20 inches divided by 4 will give me 5 inches, and I'll add 1/2 inch to it just for sewing allowance and ease. So I'll go ahead and I will draw out a rough curve on this part this way. So like what you do is to place your tape and you form like a circle and take that circle round. Now go ahead to place your tape, measure from the tip of your pattern to where that circle starts. Whatever you get, you're going to take it all the way around. So I got about 3 inches and I'll go ahead to mark this round. So after I'm done marking this round, what I'll do is I'll measure this now. This circle that I'm drawing out now, I'll make sure that at least is around that same 5.5 inches. So after measuring mine, it did not give me the accurate measurement. So I went ahead to redraw out the circle and create another rough curve, then remeasure what I have there and readjust my circle. So after measuring, what I have is close to the 5.5 inches. So I'll go ahead and I will cut this out. So after cutting this out, you want to take the length of your peplum. So you don't need this measurement. What you need is the side. So from here now, I'll measure the side of my peplum, place it and take the straight measurement to here. So what I have is about 6 inches. So this 6 inches, you'll be adding extra 1/2 inch to it. So you mark 6.5. This is for the turning of the peplum at the lower part. So after that, you add another 1/2 inch at it, that is the lower part of it again. This will serve as the joining allowance at the upper part, and I'll go ahead to cut this open. After I'm done cutting this open, I'll open it up. You notice it's a perfect circle, so cut out one part. So after I'm done cutting out this part, now we are going to fix this into this peplum. So find a midpoint and pin it to the side of your pattern. So you actually need to use your pattern paper to check this all out before going ahead to cut it on your pattern. If not, your peplum might be too big for what you actually need. So what I'm going to do is to create a little pleat. So just like I said earlier, I was supposed to use more than the actual measurement here because I'm supposed to create a pleat. If you look at that corset, it has a pleat. So I'll go ahead and pleat it this way. After I'm done pleating it, I'll go ahead and pin the rest of my pattern to the end. So I'll also go ahead and pin the other side of my pattern. So at this point, if you haven't yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, please don't forget to hit on the subscribe button. Give this video a thumbs up. If you have any question, go ahead to also leave it at the comment section. So after this is what I have, and now you have to check if the peplum is okay. So if you notice at the side it is bulging out, what you're going to do now is a little trimming on the peplum part of the corset. So you want the center part of your corset and the zipper part of your corset, place it very well. So this is a pattern paper and it might be difficult, but just try your best. Go ahead to place it, make sure it is matching, and after that you're going to at least come up by 2-3 inches and you're going to draw like a curve connecting to the side. Now you're going to cut out that curve. So after cutting it out, place it together this way to check if what you have is okay. So if you notice mine is okay, and you can now go ahead to use this pattern to cut out. So if you're not okay with what you have, go ahead and readjust the flay or the peplum part of this dress. So with this, we have come to the end of today's tutorial. If you find this video very interesting and educative, please don't forget to hit on the subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, and join us in our next video. Thanks.